joined us. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And it's time to have our first conversation of the year about the extractive sector with the Minerals Commission of Ghana. And the CEO, Mr. Martin Ayisi, is here, as always, with me on the show. Good morning. And Happy New Year.
Same to you. And congratulations for being 50.
Thank you.
We hope there will be another 50 again so that perhaps you can rival Chief Imam. He's done 100, right?
That's what Chief Imam did. He's gone past 100.
He had some special gene, I believe.
Yes.
Such a wonderful man.
Well, today is the birthday of Dr. Sarebediako Adams. He is the country director of the Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Dr. Sarebediako Adams, country director, Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance. Right now, Matt, let's start with this. How did the Minerals Commission end the year 2023? So basically, your 2023 performance, how did you end the year?
If you ask
you obviously had targets.
Of course, the most important thing is that you do your budget.
Yes.
If your budget is 5 cedis and you do 5 cedis or more, then at least revenue-wise, you're on target. So we're able to do our budget.
You mean your projected revenue?
Yeah, our projected revenue. Yeah. We're able to do that. That's it. And then,
what about your work plan for the year? The things you had envisaged to do in the course of 2023.
We did more than
you had planned.
More than we had planned, and then perhaps that will make 2024
a bit easier.
Because some of the things that we were expecting to do in 2024, we started them in 2023 for some reason. So we are on course.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, is it correct that 2024 will mark a decade of the reforms in local content and local participation?
Yes, Randy. Yes. This January is essentially 10 years when the reform started. From as low as 8 items on the procurement list to 50.
50.
Yes. And then from $148 million to nearly $2 billion in 10 years. Today, as we speak, yesterday, the minister had a breakfast meeting with the Chamber of Mines. We met at Marriott, so just to compare notes and prepare for this year. It's something we do from time to time, so I was also there with him. And then if you look at the statistics, the data, and other things, it tells you we've come very far. So, for instance, when we look at the data for last year, 33% of the expenditures of the mining companies are spent on procurement and goods and services. 33% of the revenue from 33% of their revenue is spent on local content. 33%. Now, it's not every mining company that is a member of the chamber. So if you are, yeah, primarily the big ones, yes. It's freedom of association.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at the receipts for last year, for example, on their members, those who are their members, you're talking about $5.6 billion. 33% went to local content. So let me circle back to some of the one of the key areas I told you last year that as a nation, our policies, our strategies, practically all our energy should move towards that direction. One of them is local content. So if total receipts of government in 2022 is roughly about $1 billion when you put everything together, and then you have twice that being spent by the mining companies. There's 29 items because the 2022 report is on 29 items, not 50 we have now. So you can imagine when we start discussing the 2023 report sometime maybe in a month or two, because we are now going through that one. So here am I, from where I sit, I'm saying that 33% of the expenditures of mining companies, 5.6 billion, was spent to procure goods and services on 29 items. Bear in mind, we are doing 50 now, as at 2022. And if it's about 2 billion, and that is twice the receipt of government. When you hear people saying, oh, your royalty is low, you should have been higher, you should have increased your taxes, then it tells you that they don't have the full grasp of the issues. So what does that tell you? It tells you that once we should recalibrate our policies and programs to make sure that we move from 33% to perhaps about 70%. You understand that? That's what we should do. So don't look at only revenue. Look at local content. That's why when the lithium debate started, we'll revisit that at another time. People just look at data in terms of what government gets and then the taxes, and then they say, oh, we are not doing too well. No. Here am I telling you that just 29 items, they spent $2 billion, twice what goes to government. And that is 33% of their revenue. Okay? What does that tell you? If you do more in terms of local content, if you get them to list more, if you put in policies and measures where many of the local inputs are made here rather than being imported, then it means that you just wake up one day, maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, you realize that here you are, $3, $4, $5 billion is circulating within the local economy for the purchase of various goods and services, inputs they use at the mine. And remember, these are not holders of mining licenses to explore or mine. These are people who provide various support services. So these are the kind of information we need to put out there. That 2 billion went into local supplies as against 1 billion as direct revenues, okay, in various forms to the Republic. These are some of the things. By the way, small scale has picked up. I know, as usual, we are all concerned about the ecological nightmare, or what some people now call environmental genocide. So if you look at the data last year, about 1.1 million ounces officially left this country as production from small scale. Running, that's a little over $2 billion. An activity that is being carried out lawfully and unlawfully in 13 out of the 16 regions in Ghana. So that is that. By the time we do the reconciliation, we should be talking about 4 million ounces of gold last year. And if the average price of gold was roughly even 1,900, the figure is as good as what anybody would think. And then another good news that came up yesterday was that we're trying to make Ghana the hub of support services in Ghana. If you take out South Africa, no other country regulates support services than Ghana. In other words, the various services the mining companies require to carry out the activities, whether it's contract mining, the various supplies, etc. The report is out. It was sponsored by the Chamber of Mines, and then I think they are reviewing it, how to position Ghana as a major service hub. And sometimes, look at Singapore. You know, it's a major, they have a major port because of their location that services that part of Asia. Yes. So you take explosives. It's over $100 billion industry.
Globally?
No, Ghana.
100 million?
Yes.
Okay.
My 2022 data shows that $101 million was spent by the mining companies for all kinds of explosives, detonators, etc. And it's going to go up because of the new mines that many of them will be commissioned this year. So you have companies that have set up here. They supply Burkina Faso. They supply Ivory Coast. Even they go as far as Guinea and Co. That's what I mean about Ghana becoming a hub. Do you understand that? So these are the kind of the little things that we need to do. And if we're able to do them well, running, give ourselves 5 years, you realize that once we are making, let's say, a receipt of 1 billion, I mean, that goes directly to government in various forms, withholding taxes, royalties, corporate tax, and co. People are spending 5 billion to provide various services. So that is it. So maybe one more example before we circle back to local content. There is a company in Chamba, I hope I got the pronunciation right, that do ceramics.
Yes.
Yes, over 4,000 workers, and then their annual turnover is 300 million. Yes.
300 million cedis.
Dollars.
Okay.
I think you've heard of Twyford.
Yes.
Kida.
Yes.
People use their tiles now.
Yes.
They are even doing sanitary works. I mean, bowls and all those things.
Yes.
Randy, they use 5 minerals: limestone, clay, kaolin, tack. You understand that? As a raw material to make the ceramics. I think about 60% of their products are sold in Ghana. The others go as far as Peru, Guinea, and then the sub-region. When we say we want mining to benefit this country, Randy, that is the kind of thing we are talking about. So you see, these 5 minerals are now serving as a raw material for a whole industry to produce ceramics. And that is the kind of thing we are thinking when it comes to a ware, that we should have a ceramics industry, for example, in Salt Pond, to use a kaolin and clay to produce the various products we want to talk about. So that is it. So 10 years of local content. It's been very exciting. We've come a very long way. We still have a lot to do. I don't want to sit here and then feel proud and say, oh, $2 billion in local procurement as against $148 million 10 years ago. So we should be happy. No. Perhaps we should be doing $3-4 billion, and we should be able to move it from 33% to about 50 or more. That, consistently, many of the receipts that they get, they use on local content. Again, I think our gold reserves has gotten to about 19 tons. Okay, because of this role the mining companies are playing, because government, buys a lot of gold from them now, and then of course they also, give them the dollar, and then they give them the cedis. So these are some of the things that are going on, and if we don't come out and tell our story or give this public education, that's why I value this program. All that we know is that the companies are located in some bush somewhere. They dig the stuff, leave big holes, they take everything out raw. As we speak, one of our key things we may perhaps have to celebrate this year is Ghana manganese. Randy, do you know when we started mining manganese in Ghana? 1916.
16.
Yes, perhaps when Chief Imam was like a teenager, right? Because it's 100 years now. 1916. That's when we started producing manganese and shipping it out. For now, we have one mine, but there's a lot of exploration going on for manganese in Savannah, and it's looking very prospective. So 1916, let's work out the maths. How many years now? So
108.
84 plus 20.
108.
So that is 7.
108.
Yeah, 108 years.
Yes.
So for 100 years, we've been shipping manganese ore out, raw. The good news is that by the end of this month or so, we'll have their full feasibility now to refine manganese locally in Ghana. It's going to cost...
A full feasibility.
Yes, we've started working with them. By the end of this month, they'll submit a feasibility for us.
Okay, so the feasibility will determine whether...
That has been done. We've had that discussion over a year now. But for them to be able to give them the go-ahead and start, you need to base it on a report. So hopefully, we may see about $400 million being spent on a refinery to refine manganese ore. That will move the grade from 27 to 37. That's taken us 100
Explain
years.
That.
Oh, every the minerals are found in an ore or rock, and it's at a certain grade. When you refine, you increase.
So you add value.
You add value, and that will create about an additional 300 jobs. It will take roughly about 2 years to complete. It will start this year. It will be done within their current concession. So those things will stop going out.
Is that a company in the Western region?
Yes, that is in the Western region. And then guess what? What they are going to refine, they will also get the material that we need for the battery. Because manganese is a key component of the batteries that are used for this green thing we've been talking about. Lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, vanadium and coal. So to rehash, we have graphite exploration going on. It's looking very prospective in WA. We have lithium now. One of the most prospective areas is perhaps the entire central region. We have manganese now. So the refinery will not only produce manganese alloy, where we'll make more money, but also we're going to have the kind of grade that we need to do our battery mineral. So a lot of patience is required. It's taking us 100 years. That's why I keep saying that as a nation, we are not patient. But we should be also ashamed that it has taken us 100 years to start doing this thing. But nothing is late in life. So it's going to happen now. So that's what is going to happen to manganese. Bauxite, we are on course. So let's give ourselves 5 years. The kind of criticisms, the negative comment, legitimate, we get from Ghanaians that everything goes out raw will be a thing of the past. So these are some of the things that are happening in the mining space. So those who are reading chemical engineering or who are planning to read chemical engineering and metallurgy and perhaps chemistry, these are the opportunities now. So our brothers and sisters who are shying away from chemistry, metallurgical engineering, materials engineering, and chemical engineering, the future is bright. Because as these refineries pop up now, these are the kind of skill sets we will need. I'm sorry to say that it's not about sociology, it's not about, I'm not saying we don't need that, but you see, we will need to make a conscious effort to just promote the STEM. It's not everybody that loves this mass thing, I agree. But Randy, we cannot develop as a nation where when you take every 10 SSS student or maybe every 10 student or whatever, you have overwhelmingly 8, 9 doing, let's say, humanities. You can't develop as a nation like that. You should have more people doing mathematics, statistics, the physical sciences, and then what we don't respect and regard in this country, I hear they've changed the name, TVET.
TVET.
Yeah, those technical skills. And that is it. A company has just sent me some requirement that they want to employ maintenance engineers and co. And guess what? You know what they are looking for? Those who read automobile and those technical courses at Takoradi Technical Institute, Accra, Poly, now here University.
Accra
and
then
the one in Kokomi, how do you call it? ATTC.
ATTC, yeah.
They are the people they are looking for. And it's very difficult to convince a Ghanaian that after high school, your son or daughter should go to Tema Technical Institute, Takoradi Technical Institute or ATT. But those are the people that we need them to work in the various workshops at the mine. So a lot has happened, a lot has happened in the local front, but we will need to do more. So by and large, these are some of the things that we went through in 2023, and then the plans for the next 1 year. So we're going to be hard on them. So 10 years of exciting times. Yes.
All right, so we'll get to some details, but let me do a small detour. I've seen something in Ghanaian Times, and Mineral Rights Applications Bulletin, Form 6. And I see 58 companies. What is it about?
Randy, typically this is what
So
happens.
I see serial number, name of applicant, address, type of mineral right, size, type of mineral, location, district / municipal region, date of application, map reference.
Yes. Now, this is what happens. If you look at the licensing regime, once somebody lodges an online application, the law requires that, once the Minerals Commission has done a preliminary review and it is satisfied that the person has provided all the supporting documents to, as far as that particular mineral right is concerned, the next steps are that you prepare a gazette notice. Okay? And that's what you are seeing. And then you put it in the newspapers of wide circulation. You serve it on the paramount chief. You serve it on the local chief of the area. We serve the assembly and then post it at various places. You also serve, these days we also include the regional minister and the DC. Now, what is the essence of the whole thing? Is to just tell the general public or bring to attention of everybody that this person is applying for a mineral right. And for that matter, we are prepared to receive comments on the same. So essentially, that's what it means. And then public must react. And you don't need to come from an area to oppose a mining operation, because remember, the resources are held by Ghanaians. There are a few things I want to draw your attention to.
Yes.
As far as the local content issue is concerned. Randy, I want us to look at, so you have in your hand a very comprehensive report of 2022. 2023 will be ready in about 2 or 3 months' time. But this is a summary for the purposes of the discussion. I will want you to look at.
So this for 13 companies.
This is just for 13 companies. So let's look at 38. Then I can allow you to ask a few questions.
Page 38.
Yes, page 38. I want to bring a few things to your attention.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a summary at least about 5 bullets there. So this is a kind of work we do, extensive coverage. So if you look at bullet 3, that is the amount of money that was spent, roughly about 1.9 billion. This is 2022 report by 13 operations. Not everybody, just 13 operations. I'm just giving you a summary. And this is 29 items. So you see, they spent 1.6 in 2021, and then it went to roughly 1.9 in 2022 on 29 items. So even something should be going through your head. If we are now doing, we did 41 in 2020, we did 50 items in 2023. And in a matter of months or so, we'll do a review now for 2024. If 29 items by 13 operations, that 13 operations, this is just a summary, gave us nearly 1.9 billion. You can imagine how the report will look like for 2023 for 50 items. Then that is it. But then what should be of interest to you is bullet 2. You see, so what it's saying simply is that for so that's the kind of thing we do. For every $100 worth of minerals produced and sold, that is the amount of, money they spend on local procurement. So we've rated the companies there. So, for example, Ghana Manganese, for every $100 they spend, the 66% goes into local procurement. Why? Because they spend so much on haulage.
Okay.
Yes, and haulage.
Because I was going to ask what accounts for a disparity.
Yes, so it's restricted to Ghanaians. So then when the refinery starts, you can understand. So I've given a few figures.
When the refinery starts, the haulage will reduce.
No, there will still be haulage from the mine site to the refinery.
Okay. But it will not be same as
Yes,
currently.
it will not be same as that. Yeah. So within 2 years, those who are doing haulage will have to strategize. So of course the trucks can also be used for other things. So yes. It's interesting. And then look at bullet 4.
More money. 912 million.
So 50. Yes. So 29 items as at 2022. As I said, we are now doing 50 as at 2023. So roughly about $1 billion was spent on contract mining in 2022. And then
fuel supply.
Yes, so fuel is
$36 million.
$436 million. Now let me explain those big four. Randy, $436 million. It means that just 13 operations spent $436 million to just buy fuel for their operations. Okay, the various types of fuels, etc. This is fuel, not lubricant. The lubricants are used for the machines and things. This is just fuel. Okay, put it in their trucks, move around, and all those things. And before 2022, in 2020, it was free for all. What it meant was that the likes of Total, Vivo, they've never forgiven me anyway. And then the other foreign companies were supplying fuel. So you see, this is what we've been doing to ourselves all these years. So if 100 years we are now about to refine manganese ore. You sit here, nothing sophisticated about setting up fuel stations at the mine site and then supplying fuel to the mines because of their location. And all these years, we allow foreigners to come and do that. So if you don't have the technology, if you don't build the machinery and all those sophisticated underground installations, you need a foreigner to also come and set up and supply fuel to your mine. Something must be wrong. So we stopped it in 2020. It means that $436 million from 13 operations in 2022 went into the pocket of Ghanaians.
Right.
So Randy, what am I telling you? The money stayed here. You see, people don't know this until they hear me. What they are interested in is royalties. And that's why I keep saying that. And I love the position of the president when we met him to discuss the lithium. He says, everything must not necessarily go to the state. What about the ordinary Ghanaian there? Do you understand that? So, Goa, is it state-owned? They participated, they have some of the contracts. And then there's several other Ghanaians who registered with us to provide and supply fuel to the mine. So $436 million from the expenditure of mining companies stayed in Ghana, 13 operations 2022. Now, the figure I gave you on explosives was 2021. So you can see almost $150 million was spent on explosives. Randy, explosives, you can't do mining without explosives. It's the DNA of mining. Other than that, how do you break up the rocks? It's all explosives. The figure is going to go up. And I'm proud that Ghanaians have entered into the space now. So you take Ghana Bauxite, which is now 100% owned state and Ghanaian mine, and Ghana Manganese, two big projects. It's a Ghanaian who ran the entire explosive operations. You didn't see this. In fact, it was just last year that a Ghanaian won this contract. So even 2 years ago, there were other foreign companies that were doing it. So when I tell you that 10 years on, we've come very far, this is what I mean. So Ghanaians are doing it. So you see, this person who is running the explosives for Ghana Manganese, okay? And he set up there doing everything and hire all the people, they're providing that service of Ghana Bauxite. You understand that? Hitherto, this will have gone to a foreign company. Let's say Solar Nitro.
It's a big step.
It's a big issue.
It's a big step.
It's a big
taken
issue
by the Minerals Commission.
So, maybe before you comment, so it tells you that when Cardinal commissions this year, that's about 360,000 ounce a year project. Okay? Huge underground potential. For the next 25 years, we are in for a long haul. Azuma will start construction this quarter. The two, if you add it, 350, 150, that's 500,000 ounces. Price of gold has been doing over 2,000 since this year. Then a half off by Newmont, 300. So already within 2 years, we're going to add close to about 1 million ounces of gold. So we are already heading to 5 million. So I'm saying that a half off, which is 30 kilometers north of Ahafo South, they use explosives. Okay? Cardinal will use explosives. These are big new mines. A half off will use explosives. And then Azuma will use explosives. Lithium will use explosives. So I could confidently say that we're going to see $300-400 million budget for explosives this year. So a time will come where even explosives alone can rival total government receipts. For now, receipts from contract mining is equivalent to the total receipts for Ghana. And now contract mining OPP is for Ghanaians. So lithium, a half off, Azuma, and Cardinal. You see these big four. Foreigners cannot do it. That's how far we've come, Randy.
All right. So that's great. But, you know, I was looking through a thing, and when they got to the issue of fuel, I was a bit sad.
Why?
Okay. I was sad because, you know, he kept making the point, oh, the 400 and something, all this money stayed here.
It will stay here.
Only for you to find out that we do not produce any of these finished products. And so, although Ghanaian companies are supplying it, they would buy them from outside. So, this has nothing to do with the Minerals Commission.
Yes.
You have done your part,
by preserving,
which is what must be done.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is that you don't control the value chain. You don't determine what is produced here. And I'm saying this because this is something that we have the capacity, yet. So if we're using as much as close to $500 million worth of finished products, yet not a liter is produced in this country. So you're doing your bit. Ghanaians are running these companies, but it's 400 and something million.
Imported products.
Yes.
So Randy, two things. I'm not holding brief. So take Nigeria, a country that does what? A little over 1 million barrels a day. They import everything. And there are 3 or 4 refineries. Kaduna, Warri, and Co. never work. The one at Port Harcourt. We know the Nigerian situation, so we will not take lectures on that. So you saw the conscious effort by Dangote to do that. So yes, that is up to Petroleum Commission, GNPC to also fashion out how we can do that. But at least we'll have been worse off.
Of course.
So you don't import, you don't do the products here, then even the derivatives, I don't know if I'm permitted to use the word, that will even be sold to the mining companies that is not so sophisticated. Yeah. That one you should allow foreigners. Yeah. So that is it. And very soon we even change the way the explosive thing should be done. That is that. So running a lot.
But this is great. What's grinding media? What is it?
They use it in the gold process.
When I saw media, then
not media as newspapers or whatever.
Grinding media.
Yes, it's one of the items on the list. And
$126 million.
Yes, so Randy, if you ask me, what we've not done very well, in spite of the conscious attempts or effort to increase the items of the minings, which has helped, kept the billions here. The area we've not done so well is the manufacturing of the inputs here. And I want to take you to some of the challenges we have enumerated there, so you understand. When we take you through it, then you can understand where the problems are coming from. So just give me 2 seconds.
Right.
I'll show you those places. So let's go to page 30.
Yes.
So Randy,
challenges of local content.
I want to see. You understand? So for instance, the explosives. We have the high explosive, the detonators and co, which we used to bring from like Ukraine and other countries. The one that we can easily do here, where you mix diesel and then those stuff to get the ammo. Now on site now, we no longer kind of transport them. But you see, we have not achieved 100% true local content, which I will have laughed, because I said in my introductory or summary that 33% of the expenditures as a 2022 report, goes to local content. But many of the items that the company also use are not manufactured here, so they have to import. So we are trying to design our strategies and policies in such a way we have to encourage people to produce them. Some of these things will take time. I said, look, if it has taken us over 100 years to get manganese refined ore body, yes. But then there are a few things that, as Ghanaians too, some of the mining companies have been complaining. A lot has been done in that respect, but you should understand there are problems too. So, relatively high interest rates charged by commercial banks is a disincentive.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. You struggle to do business with the kind of interest rate that we have in this country.
Because you are also pushing for them to do their business with the banks.
Yes.
And yet, this is also a hindrance or an impediment.
So on our side, let me tell you what the kind of thing we've been doing to assist Ghanaians. So yesterday, a Ghanaian had won a contract in Newmont for some products. He's a new young boy. He just walked into my office. When we registered him, he was supposed to pay us the money for the registration. He says he's a young guy. He has not got the money. So if we don't allow him to go and work, he will lose the contract. So I started this about at least when I became CEO. So what I told him was that, how much do you have on you? He says, oh, I can only pay 3,000. I said, go to accounts, go and pay it. We'll send an email to the mining company and then get a registration done for you so that you go and start work. When they give you your first mobilization, come and pay the rest. And I asked him again, when can you finish paying the rest? He gave it to me, and then I asked him to bring a letter this morning. I see he's WhatsApping me his count. But you see, that is the kind of thing we need to do. If we are insisted that pay the full registration fee, he will have lost the contract. Okay? And he was practically weeping because he didn't believe that he could get that kind of services. We don't do that to foreign companies. Okay? So again, a Chinese company walked into my office and he wanted a payment plan for his fees. I just threw him out. But if he was a Ghanaian, I would do that. So this guy, hopefully in about 6 months, he'll be able to pay his full registration. He's a happy man. By virtue of the fact that he's gotten that job at Newmont, okay, to provide that service, he has a CV now. So when the same advert is done by Cardinal, Ahafo Azuma, he has a CV to apply for that one. That is the kind of thing we need to be doing as a nation. Support our own. Okay? Yes, because if I had insisted he should pay the 10,000, that's a fee for the registration, he didn't have it. He's a young guy. How he got the contract, I asked him, so he just tried using his CV and things, and then they gave it to him. The good thing was that he also comes from the community, so I believe that was a plus. So on our own small way, we're trying to, I don't want to say bend the rules, but to be flexible with the Ghanaians, to also pull them through. Other than that, the next thing is that Newmont will come back and say he's taking the contract off. You should permit me to allow a foreigner to.
Can we deal with the challenges fully next week?
Yes, we can
because
do that.
Because they're quite a lot.
Yes, yeah. And then people can hear us. But to summarize, Randy, it's been a long journey.
Right.
$148 million, 8 items, to 29 items as a 2022 assessments, nearly 2 billion. Now we are talking about 50 items. I'm just about looking at the review for 2024.
You'll take it to how many?
Oh, we'll tweak it a little. I've not finished, but I don't want to say a few things. Why I want you to leave with this. Maybe 20 years' time, as a young lawyer then at commission, perhaps we didn't see this coming. But I'm so proud that now a Ghanaian can get a contract to set up at Ghana Manganese, to set up at Ghana Bauxite, 2 big operations, and provide everything that the company requires for explosive services, supplying it, importing it, setting up. You know, because you see, this is what happens at the mine. The mining companies themselves have their full-time workers. So if you ask Iduaprim now, they will tell you their full-time workers are about 734. That one I remember very well because I always boast about that. Everybody at the mine is Ghanaian. So when, let's say, Iduaprim gives contract mining, maybe for contract mining, or let's say gives out a contract for, let's say, supply of fuel, or maybe even explosives, and let's say Randy Mining Company or Enterprise wins it, you come also with your what? Workers to set up. So in our statistics, in our data, let's say if you take company A, you see full-time employees, maybe 2,000, and they break it down, gender, because that also helps us to shape policy. Male, female, junior staff, senior staff, technical staff, this. And then you see contractors, maybe 3,000. So if you put it together, that particular mining operation alone is supporting about 5,000 workers. Do you understand that? One other thing we also need to celebrate before I draw the curtain is the medical facilities. It's been going very well now. I see a lot of doctors, and the beauty is that you see 4 or 5 doctors coming up, they set up a company, and then they are applying for contracts at Cardinal, Azuma, Ahafo North and Co. to provide medical services. So they are all happy. Yes, but what we need to deal with is an ecological nightmare with Galamsey. Okay. That is something we need to work as a nation, and I want to take this opportunity, if you allow me 1 more second, to repeat that let us take the politics out of Galamsey. Let us deal with the problem the way we know it. When you go and stand somewhere and say, oh, for me, when I come, I'll let somebody work. Hey, Randy, I'll tell you that's what you see, this is how the miners think. If you go and tell the small scale miner that, oh, I'll allow you to work when I come or when I get the opportunity, I'm being real. what has gotten into his head is that, oh, if this happens for us, you see, you are oblivious of the fact that where he's working perhaps is an ecologically sensitive area. He might have been working in the forest, the water body, or an area where ordinarily, if you look at the mining laws and regulations, Mincom will not have regulated. So then you get a power, for instance. Then he's expecting that you allow him to work. So that a person is referred to, or those group of persons are referred to Minerals Commission. And the Minerals Commission will say, you can't work here. Then it leads to a whole ball game together. So I want us, if we want to do politics with small scale, we should focus on the policies, the strategies. How do we improve it? How do we stop the use of mercury? If you listen to Professor Sampeni Osei, he's a pathologist at Confanochi.
This is my friend.
Yes. Randy, it's scary. He scares me. I'm not able to sleep. Whilst we are celebrating, is it Capo Verde or Guinea-Bissau, one of them, that the last 3 years they've not had malaria, and for that matter, they are malaria-free. What is frightening is that if Professor Sampeni says anything to go by, what he's seeing, the research he's doing, it means that very soon, our budget for Ministry of Health, and Randy, listen carefully, this is Ghana. I'm not here for NDC MPP politics. I'm talking about what, as a nation, we should work collectively together. What it simply means is that our budget for kidney and liver issues will now far outweigh that of malaria. And then we realize that perhaps every health post hospital perhaps must have a dialysis. So the debate as to how to deal with the Galamsey issue should be focused on how we can. And I think we're also doing our part very well. The more mercury-free machine we give, the less they use mercury. And for that matter, we are reducing the incidence of mercury, the so-called heavy metals Professor Sampeni is talking about. So I will love that when the campaign sides, all sides, I know the small scale thing will be a major campaign issue. We should focus on the issues, the strategy, because you're a journalist, and how I prefer you stop people who come here from doing politics with Galamsey. Let us focus on the strategies. How do we stop the use of mercury? How do we put money in what I've always been championing, geological investigation, so that in the long to medium term, so 100 years, you couldn't refine manganese ore. Okay? Let's be patient and put more money on geological survey. For now, the short term, the 13 regions where they are doing illegal mining, what do we do? Government is doing a lot. That's where the debate is. Like, you should be critiquing the measures we put in place, but not to say things that in reality it cannot happen. Because Randy, maybe the last word, the last thing we should do in this country is to say that nobody should do small-scale mining in this country. Forget it. And I'll dare anybody to tell me that we should do it. But I'm the first person to concede the anger in you, the anger in Ghanaians, the kind of thing we see on television that is being displayed. How we should tackle that should be the focus of our debate.
Well, it'll be difficult to take out the politics when the issue of complicity.
Randy, let me stop you there.
Yes.
You see, there are things we can do with politics.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
You know, US, etc. I mean, Trump. You heard Nikki Haley saying that, or is it there's this guy who stopped his presidential ambition recently, said he's pulling out, but he says, Trump should not be president, that kind of thing. I mean, those kind of politics should be allowed. But I'm saying, don't do politics with an issue that the answers you and I know, and then perhaps the criticism should be, we should double our efforts, we should do more. But I'll be surprised if you still think we should do politics.
No, I'm not saying that. The point I'm making to you is that if you watch documentaries like the ones that are made by Seth Kwame Boateng of multimedia,
Yes. If you watch his documentary.
Yes.
Because I spent almost an hour listening to him over this weekend. I even called my wife to watch.
Yes.
Professor Sampeni keep talking. I said, wow, this is scary. What is Sampeni saying? Too much heavy metals, which is toxic to our body. We're seeing birth defect. He say that's what he's saying. He's seeing increase in liver conditions and kidney conditions. So effectively, that documentary, if you listen to Sampeni, what is a message here? Heavy metals is getting into our water body and all those
That's
things.
just his latest
Hang
work.
on.
Yes.
So what is causing that?
Yes.
Use of mercury.
Yes.
So then the argument or the focal point of the politics, if I still want to allow you, should be, what do we do to take away the use of heavy mercury?
Well,
and one of the solutions is this mercury-free machine we are
supplying. So the point I'm making to you is
understand?
that you're perhaps
that should be
restricting
the
yourself
focus
to just his last work. But if you take into cognizance all of Seth's work, you would see what I'm driving at. The complicity of the politician at all levels.
Not just a politician.
Yeah, so what I'm just trying, because we're talking about politics.
Randy, if you see, I'm a lawyer.
Yes.
So when I'm speaking, I'm cautious of my language because of issues of defamation and things.
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
If I've mentioned it on this platform before or whatever, I want you to understand this, and if you didn't know, I'm telling you today.
Yeah.
All kinds of people
Yes.
are involved in illegal mining.
Yes.
Let's understand that first.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
All kinds of people.
Yes.
Chiefs are involved.
Yes.
Deeply.
Yes.
And chiefs are also fighting it.
Yes.
Some chiefs, perfect.
True.
Okay? I hear one is waiting for me now, bringing a complaint. Chiefs are involved. Okay? Political actors are involved. A whole community is involved. Okay? So we cannot cherry pick.
No, so that
I am not going to sit here and mention it because if I want to mention him, then means that I have to say that like this cap is white.
The point I'm making to you is that
so
we might have everybody involved, but our levels of responsibility differ.
Yes.
On the basis of the powers, influence, and authority that the state has entrusted in our hands. That is why the issue of politics becomes critical and central to this issue. And I will tell you something, which I have said many times. Anytime we are confronted with a problem, and we seem not to have a solution to the problem, those who are supposed to find the solution are the problem. Anytime we are confronted with a problem, and we seem not to find a solution to the problem, those who are expected to provide a solution are the problem. So with that,
Randy,
yes,
maybe let me have the last word.
Please do.
If you ask me, our attitude is also part of the problem.
Yes.
So people build at Ramsar sites.
Yes.
I stand to be corrected because
Yes.
I checked with the Executive Secretary of Lands Commission, the previous one.
Yes.
Why? Because I was going to register a land for my auntie in the Wager area. And then the advice I got when I asked him was, I said, oh, there's an executive instrument over that area. So it's government land. When I asked him, what is it about? He said, oh, it was purposely reserved as part of the Wager Dam that supply water to, is it Accra West or something of that nature? Millions of people, is it 5-6 million? And what it simply meant is that government is to keep that place clear. When there's a spillage, the team moves. I don't know whether that's a Gbechile and all those areas. Randy, go and pass there. People are built to the edge of the dam.
Yes.
Remember the hard-working Greater Accra Regional Minister?
Yes.
Started bringing buildings down in Sakumon or Ramsar site. What were we hearing? Oh, he should stop. Oh, why people are spending money to do all these things. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You cannot develop a nation that way.
You know what I can tell you,
Okay.
Ayisi, is that
And then my last point,
Yes.
on this Galamsey issue, and
Yes.
that's why I'm still pleading that
Yes.
I'm prepared to debate the policies, the rightness, or whether we are doing well or we are not doing well with you, rather than politics. Randy, I said in this studio when small scale was lawfully permitted in 1989. That since 1989, every year, right from the Venerable Kofi Ansah, Ewanya Miche, Benai, Enchibo Isiaku, and all the CEOs that have come through Minerals Commission, Kabashi Gama will say, for 3 decades, minister upon minister, we keep telling them we need money for geological survey. Moko bo to it, because they will tell you this is an activity that has 5% chance of success. They have to do those days. They said they have to deal with Guinea worm. We need to construct schools. So why should I give you $10 million when I need to build schools? I need to provide roads. So if I look at my scale of preference or whatever, I want to do that. You should wait. So again, an activity that you saw in Asante, Eastern, Central, Western, and Upper East. Barely 100,000 people. Now, because of 30 years or 3 decades of inaction and our attitude towards the kind of recommendations we make, government institutions make, and nobody took it seriously, the activity has spread from 5 regions to 13 regions, save Greater Accra, Oti and Volta, where I come from, because I know that for sure. And even then, the reports are showing exciting presence of gold in Oti. So it's a matter of time, the figure will go to 14 regions. And now you have 3 million people being dependent on this activity. You go to Takwa, every CD that circulates in Takwa comes from small scale mining. Anything that is sold at Takwa CBD and all those things. And you have this 10% of your population involved in 13 regions. You want to do politics with it and behave as if you can stop it overnight. That is not like a failure or throwing up my arms in air. That is not to say that I am not, as head of the regulatory body, oblivious of what we have all agreed that is an ecological, genocide. But you cannot, in your attempt to address one issue, stop it. No government, and I want to repeat, can just get up and say something that for 30 years we didn't do anything concrete about is something you can dismantle. But then the question is, when anytime the names of politicians, political actors and co come up, when you ask people, like the Chief Justice has been saying, people say all kinds of things about judges, okay? I mean, their analysis and things are hardcore evidence, so maybe they acted. But then, if they go and write something about, let's say, Justice Ayisi, let's say me, if I become a judge one day, that I've taken bribe, I've done this, okay? Sometimes it's anonymous. And then the Chief Justice will say, bring evidence, come and testify. They don't show up. Okay? They don't show up. Okay? The ones that are before the various institutions that are handling them, I'm sure they are going through their processes. But then if somebody comes and says that Randy is involved in illegal mining as maybe somewhere, okay? When this thing comes to the attention of maybe OSP, police, whatever, when you call that person who said that, bring evidence, sometimes they don't show up.
Well, that could be the case.
So sometimes we tend to make sweeping statements. I'm not defending anything
well,
here.
it's not.
But I'm saying
it's not sweeping.
When you say something, why, you see, like
that's why I referred
but like you
yes.
said, there are political actors involved.
Yes,
we've heard, we know. But then, if they ask you, Randy, can you present politician
there's more than enough evidence on the work of journalists. I referred you to one. There are several, Mr. Ayisi. Several. And the truth of the matter is that we are such an insincere people. We are such a dishonest people.
That is why that's why I keep talking about these Ramsar sites.
Yes, because the Ramsar site you're talking about, it will not occur in another jurisdiction. There's a reason why we have attitudinal problems, and yet we have decided to set up a Minerals Commission and to make you the CEO. You, as CEO of Minerals Commission, cannot come and open the Book of Lamentations and tell us that.
I will never do that.
I am unable to do my work because of the attitude of Ghanaians. We knew, or we are fully aware of the problem we have, that we have an attitudinal problem. That is why we have set up a regulatory body and given the regulatory body all the powers, the laws or whatever. It could be insufficient. But every time you ask for maybe amendment, support, and all those things. But I'm saying that there's a reason why we set up bodies like the Minerals Commission. So we cannot have a situation,
which is actually a creature of the Constitution.
Yeah, so we cannot have a situation where we create all of this. There is leadership. We vote to appoint people to positions. We give them powers and all that. And they'll turn around and open the book of Lamentations and say, oh, it's everybody. We should all come together. We should all do this. That's not how those jurisdictions have developed. You cannot say that we have agencies responsible for something and then today people have built up to the bank of Ramsey sites. And we say it's okay. People earn their salaries every day. They keep their appointments. Those institutions exist. We spend money on them. Then what's the point? We might as well then disband everything and have a free for all. And know that, look, we have attitudes. Let's all go and change our attitudes and change our country.
We cannot allow that.
Yes.
We cannot allow that.
So we can't create these institutions that are supposed to deal with these things and appoint people who believe that they can do it and then turn around and say that, oh, well, there's very little that can be done. We can't do that.
So, Randy, I hear you. So, for example, Martin Ayisi, I want to see when the political, what do you call it, campaign starts. I want to see maybe the various parties saying that, oh, geological survey will give you $50 million for geological investigation.
Fair point.
That's the kind of thing I want to hear.
Fair point.
I want to see that I will take $50 million to Parliament, you bring in more gold catches. So that Professor Sampenio say will not be seeing what he's talking about.
All right.
That is the kind of thing I want to hear. So when I say we shouldn't do politics, that's what I mean. I want to see that everybody will say, oh, for us, we have $100 million for geological investigation. We will make a conscious and we'll put it in the budget. We will give $100 million to bring gold catcher. You understand that? That's the kind of thing I want to hear.
All right. So it's what you've said is nice, is good, is inclusive. I'm sure you hear that. But to the extent that things exist, people would also speak to those issues and would have to deal with them.
Then we are doing injustice to ourselves.
No, we shouldn't play ostrich.
We should call a spade, not the digging instrument.
That's exactly the point I'm making.
We should call it that.
That's exactly the point I'm making because you see, people live in communities and in societies.
So Randy, let me tell you something.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
If you bring, and then when we say this collective authority, I want you to appreciate it and not just pull it. I'm not saying that maybe the institutions or government should not lead.
Yes.
But then, Randy, when you bring an excavator today to Rara, okay, the people in Rara, by close of the day, they will know whether that excavator is for a construction of the Jessica Rara Road or to do other government project. But when you take that excavator and enter the bush, there is no way me as a chief, Continue of Rara, I will not get a call today. That Nana, who said excavator be a bush hole or mission hole, and you be a then a cosum, your name it will not take even hours for you to get that call. So then the question I also ask myself is that, what is the chief doing? Okay, you saw recently, not just, you see, if it's just one off incident, I will appreciate your concern. There are several reported cases of chiefs being arrested for doing galamsey. A chief goes to police station to go and bail a Chinese.
Yes.
I mean, what has this got to do with government?
Yes.
You understand me? Government also has a role to play. I'm not shying away from it.
Yes.
Mincom also has a role to play.
There are chiefs who have complained about political actors, political office holders.
But I've also told you,
and nothing has been done about it.
But I've also told you, some of the greatest fighters of the galamsey phenomenon is a chief. There's an old soldier who is a chief in one of the Western region areas. You dare not.
You see, I sit in Accra.
My only worry is that I want us to look at let's look at what is causing the problem, whether the solutions are good enough or we are not doing too well. But don't color it with politics.
It's not that. That's the point. It's not a coloration of politics. If there is politics involved, if politics is preventing the success of the fight, we should be able to call it out.
Yes. So, Randy, now you are.
But that is where people go and hide and they say, don't politicize it, don't politicize it.
No, hang on. Now you are making sense to me in a way, with all due respect. So, for example, he should be able to tell me that, oh, if you go to this community, some people have been arrested and this particular political actor stopped it, or he's the one even providing the excavator. You see, because then I ask my question, or I ask this question. You see these boys who go into the pit.
All right, let's continue.
We'll talk more about it because definitely
we have to go. But nobody, if we decide to dodge the question of political or partisan complicity,
name and shame.
Political or partisan complicity in this issue, we will not get anywhere.
Yes.
When we try to hide under, or don't politicize it, and it is just to create refuge for people who are in the political class, who are taking advantage of it, to get involved in these things. We won't get anywhere, to be honest with you. And I'm saying that there is enough evidence to show publicly. I have shown many videos where you have the issue of people who are in politics or political actors involved in this thing, who have been called out either by chiefs or citizens and all that. We know. Yes. We can't pretend. I hope you understand. We can't pretend. And the very reason why action has not been taken against these people, concrete action, is because of who they are and what they do.
So then the question is...
if we cannot pretend that that is also not one of the reasons why we are unable to make the kind of strides that we should be making at this point.
No, so Randy, then the question is, you have a platform like this.
Yes.
People listen to us a lot.
Yes.
I mean, people, like you've told me that some people say when it's time for our mining program, they don't do other things. But there's a chief who tells me that even he doesn't put meetings on Thursday because he has to listen to us on morning and then also listen to Asempa, because I also have Asempa on Thursdays. Randy, so then if you say person A has been involved or there is this issue about him, what also stops you persistently from saying that in spite of all these damning allegations, so to speak, nothing is being done?
I've done that severally, and I'm even doing it today. I've done it severally, and I'm doing it today. And the fact that I even show all those videos and talk about them is how far I can go.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
We'll discuss
more. So we've taken a lot of the soccer folks time, Metro Sports. Of course.
No, it's important.
The big story to
because we don't
Ghana,
want. It's not that we're taking the soccer folks talk. We don't want anybody to go and dig the sports stadium. so we need to discuss this matter. That's on a lighter note.
All right.